Hey guys, great to see you. Welcome back to another video. Thank you so much for joining me for this one. So in this video, we're going to be taking a look at open tunings, and in particular open D tuning, because that's a great one to get started with, and there is no danger of breaking any strings tuning to open D tuning, right? Now don't worry about this kind of thing, because sometimes when I mention it to my beginner students, they kind of run for the hills, right? How will I ever get my guitar back in tune once you've tuned it to open D and things of this nature? It's really straightforward, so it's not something you need to worry about. And you know, no matter what level you're at with your guitar playing, you can have a go with this and you can just kind of experiment and see where it leads you. Now in the video I'm going to be playing various songs, alright, so there's going to be a kind of quite a wide selection of different things. So there'll be some finger picking, there'll be some blues, there'll be some kind of contemporary stuff and things like that, and there'll also be links to everything that I play down below or up above here, okay? So if you keep an eye out there and you see something that you'd like to kind of follow up on, then you can just click one of the links and that will take you to the lesson that I've done. So as I say, it's a very easy tuning, this one, to get started with. All we do is on the bottom string here, we tune it down a whole tone from an E to a D. So it sounds like this. And I should also point out that when you click on these lessons, you know, individual lessons, they all start showing you how to tune, alright? So don't worry about that. Now the next string also goes down a whole tone. Ordinarily it's a B, right? So we're going to make this one an A. It will sound like that. Alright, and then we move on to this G string, which would ordinarily be a G. We're going to lower that by a semitone to make it an F sharp. It sounds like that. Now the next string, which is a D, just stays the same, okay? Just stays as a D. As does the next string, the A, that stays the same too, right? And then we finish on the top string, which again we're going to tune down to D, alright? So we lower the string. There's no hiring of any strings when we tune to open D. So that one goes down as well to a D. Now, when you play all those kind of strings together, we should have like a D chord. You should be able to tell if it's in tune, you know. Hopefully you can hear that that sounds in tune, alright? Now then, once we got this, there are many different things that we can do. So let me show you a number of the kind of things that you might like to experiment with. Now, for those of you who've watched my previous videos, you'll know that I concentrate quite a lot on blues. So you might be asking yourself, well, how can I play a blues in this key, right? Well, Robert Jonson did exactly that, as well as many other artists have used this kind of tuning to play a blues, right? But to just get a basic shuffle going, right, what we do is we can play like our index finger is going to go on the 3rd string of the 1st fret, and our middle finger is going to go on the 5th string of the 2nd fret. So it's kind of like an E7, right? And all we're going to kind of do is go off and on and off and on, and that's going to create our shuffle. So let me show you what I mean. So already we've got this kind of great little shuffle, right? Real simple and different to standard tuning. So you can put the odd upstroke in there, right? Now you might be asking yourself, well, how do we go to our 4 chord from here? Really simple. What we do is we just come up to the 5th fret and we play a bar. And that effectively is our 4 chord, right? But what we're going to do to create the shuffle is we're going to add our ring finger on the 5th string, 7th fret. So it's kind of doing this on and off. Like we were here, on and off. This is going to be on and off, right? So we've got, let's give it a try, right? There we go. 4 chord. Back to the 1 chord, right? 5 chord. Right, so you're thinking, well, what was the 5 chord? It's just the bar on the 7th fret. And again, we're going to use that ring finger on the 5th string, only this time it's on the 9th fret, so it's we drop it back to our 4 chord. And then we can play like a walk down if we want. And all we're doing there, right, is 5th string, 3, 2, 1. And then open, right? And then we can kind of slide up to 5 and 7. And also the great thing about this key is that once you kind of work a little bit on these things, don't rush the process, right? Because that's not really going to help you much. It's far more important to take your time and get your rhythm chops down real tight and nice, because it will make such a difference, right? Okay, so let me now play that 1-4-5 blues shuffle for you, and then perhaps once you've had a little bit of a practice at this kind of thing, you'll be able to join me and play along with this, right? And do remember that for everything that I play in this video today, there is going to be some links up here and down below. So if you come across one of these pieces that you like that I'm going to play here for you, then you can just click on the appropriate link and you'll be taken to a full breakdown of that lesson, far more than what I'm going to be showing you here today. This is just to kind of give you a little bit of a taste as to some of the things you can do with open D tuning. Alright, so let me now show you that kind of blues shuffle and we'll go from there. So that's your kind of blues shuffle, right? Really, really nice to be able to play. A lot of fun once you got it down. You're just one of those type of things you just don't want to stop playing because it's got a real nice vibe to it, right? And the other good thing about this is that with open D tuning, it really lends itself to slide. So in this particular song of Robert Jonson's, Rambling on My Mind, which is essentially what I'm playing you here, right? There are some great walk-ups, you know, like you probably heard there. And walk-downs. And all these type of things as well, which really make it kind of work really nicely. But as I say, the other thing you can do as well is a little bit of slide, and it's a great kind of beginner's piece in a sense, because the thing that he plays in Rambling on My Mind is not a difficult thing to play. Okay, so that's the kind of lick. It's a little bit noisy, as I say, because it's not set up as it should be, right? But you get the idea. Okay, so what you're looking to do, right, is to try and incorporate that lick into the rhythm. And that's where it gets a little bit tricky, but honestly, you can do all of this kind of stuff. It's just regular practice. But more importantly, it's playing it really, really slow to start with. Never play quicker than you can manage, all right? Because that's just a recipe for disaster. You just want to make sure you play it nice and slowly, and then when you can do that, you can work on the tempo, right? So you'll have... Start somewhere like that. Keep your rhythm needs to be solid, right? And then if you can do that and get back to the... So you're going, and you're getting back to the chord, and then you do your changes too, nice and slow, and you carry it on. And before you know where you are, you'll be doing this type of stuff, all right? It's just persistence and regular practice. So that's one of the things I wanted to show you about open D tuning. Now we're going to move on to something a little bit different, okay? And many people are looking to become finger pickers, and this is a great thing to do if you possibly can. And if you can start doing this sooner rather than later, you certainly won't regret it, because you'll be able to play all kinds of great things, and particularly kind of blues things as well. A lot of the blues players were finger pickers, so it's kind of quite important, if that's something that interests you, that you start trying to use your fingers. And you'd be surprised how quickly you can kind of come to terms with some of these kind of pieces that I'm going to play, okay? Admittedly, some of them are a bit more of a long-term project, but certainly some of them are more short-term, okay? So let me play you a little selection of a few things, again, that are in open D, and then there'll be links to these also if they're things that you might like to take a look at. Okay, so this next one we're going to take a look at is a song by Jessie May Hemphill. I doubt you've heard of her, right? She was a blues woman. And this is a good one if you're looking to get started on your finger picking. But again, it will need to be slowly, and a lot slower than what I play it probably, just initially to get yourself started. But it's a nice one to think about perhaps, okay? And it's called I'm So Glad. So let me play you a little section. I'm so glad you don't know what's on my mind. The woman that I'm loving, she don't know what's on my mind. I'm so glad you don't know what's on my mind. Alright, may sound very, very complicated, but in reality, it's not too bad, alright? Now, as I say, any of these that appeal to you, then that's what should maybe shape your decision making in a sense, because these things, for us to learn anything, we need to have that desire. It's a huge part of learning a song. If it's, if we have that, then the chances are we're going to really persist with it until we can actually play it, okay? So as I say, this next one I'm going to play you is a song by Jimmy Lee Williams called Have You Ever Seen Peaches? And again, this is another one for you finger pickers or wannabe finger pickers out there. And it goes like this. And have you ever seen peaches growing on a sweet potato vine? And have you ever seen peaches growing on a sweet potato vine? Well, wake up, mama, take your leg off mine. Well, look here, mama, look what you done done. Alright, so that's just a little section of Have You Ever Seen Peaches, right? Which, as I say, is by Jimmy Lee Williams. Nice little song to get started on because there's a lot of repetition in the song. Click up there if you're interested in that one and you'll get the lesson for that as well, alright? So, now we move on to Vestapol, which is quite a famous kind of tune, and you may well have heard this around the place, and it's a great one to be able to play. It's another one of those songs that kind of sounds a lot more complicated than it actually is. If you can get this kind of alternating bass going, it's going to be a game changer for your playing. And I've done many, many lessons over on my Patreon page, which is well worth you checking out, to get you started in this genre of music and to help you kind of come to terms with some of these basic concepts like an alternating bass and things like that. So if that's something that interests you, I'll pop a link down below and you can go check out some of the kind of things I've done over there, because I've done about 300 lessons now over there, which you know is quite a lot of material. So as I say, this one's called Vestapol. It goes like this. So you get the idea, right? Really, really nice kind of music to play for your own pleasure, this type of stuff. It really is very, very satisfying. And as I say, you can get results quicker than you might realise. So please don't be put off by any of this kind of stuff and thinking it's way too complex for you. I'd love to help you kind of be able to play this kind of music. So please have a bash. And if you're interested, again, click up there and you'll get a kind of link to that lesson, all right? Okay, and so just to finish with, let me show you something a little bit more contemporary. It's still very old as it happens, but it's not as old as that blues stuff. It's a song by Bob Dylan, and it's called A Simple Twist of Fate. And it illustrates just how you can kind of play standard chords, I suppose, in a sense, but because they're in an open tuning, they just sound so different. And to my ears, it sounds really, really nice. So I do hope that, you know, this video inspires you to maybe experiment with this open D tuning and have a go at it. That would be really, really good. And just remember that you can do any of this kind of stuff, all right, guys? And check out some of these links that have been popping up here because, you know, I'd really like to kind of help you develop your playing and spread your wings a little bit further than, say, the standard tuning. So good luck. I'll play you a little bit of this one, and I'll see you soon. They sat together in the park as the evening sky grew dark. She looked at him and he felt a spark tingle to his bones. It was then he felt alone and wished that he'd gone straight. Watched out for a simple twist of fate. They walked along by the old canal, a little confused, I remember well, and stopped into a strange hotel where the neon burning bright.